For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Folta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Moving right along here on your work week. Mike Folta, Adrian Denny with you on Mammoth Daily. I'm at Mike_Folta on Twitter. He is at 801 Adrian Denny. We are your Hockey Night in Utah radio crew. Adrian, we had the eyes and ears of Mammoth Nation upon us on Tuesday night. A big win against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was a national TV game, so we were the only Utah-centered broadcast out there. Now we're joined by Matt, Dom, Sarah, the whole crew, as the TV crew gets back to work. But it's a big game tonight against the Dallas Stars, and I'm breaking out the gloves. I got the jersey and the gloves ready. Big Central Division tilt as the homestand continues, and I'm not making any bones about it, AD. I'm getting right after it.
I like it, Mike. Stars wrapping up a 6-game road trip. They're playing their third game in 4 nights. They beat LA on Monday, which allowed Utah to move into that first wildcard spot on Tuesday. They fell in Anaheim. First win for the Ducks since before Christmas on Tuesday. So they're coming in on Thursday night, expecting to see Jake Ottinger up there with Scott Wedgwood and Karel Vejmelka among the top goaltenders in the National Hockey League. It'll be the second meeting this year against the Dallas Stars, Mike. And I think this is another great test for the Mammoth in terms of growth as a team. They played Dallas the Friday after Thanksgiving, that emotional game right after Clayton Keller's father had passed away. Utah jumped up 2-0, and it was a game that centered around game management for the Mammoth. They gave up a late power play goal in the first with a 2-0 lead. They gave up a power play goal late in the second period after they just tied the game at 3, and there was no scoring in the third period. So special teams after the penalty kill had been red hot, and then just kind of managing momentum was why Utah lost that game 4-3. And last year, the Mammoth played some really good games against Dallas. 3 of the 4 games, actually all 4 games, were within a goal in the third period. And the one that they won, third to last road game of the year, they were able to pull away. But the first 3, they played good. They just fell behind. They were within a goal, and they couldn't quite get over the top, which I think is what we talked about a lot during the first season, a lot during the beginning of this year, playing well, just trying to get over the top against a good team. But Utah did it against Toronto for the first time, against Ottawa for the first time. So we've definitely seen some strides there in terms of getting over the top against teams you struggled with. Also, game management on this homestand has been really, really good for the Mammoth, reminiscent of that 7-game winning streak.
Yeah, I remember Clayton Keller in that last meeting back at American Airlines Center. He was all over the place. He had 1 million shot attempts. He was buzzing, and obviously an emotional night for him after hearing his father had passed away the night before. So he played really well. The Mammoth played well. They outscored Dallas and even strengthened that game. You talk about the close games, AD. These two teams have met now 5 times dating back to last year, 4 times last year, once already this season. 4 of those 5 meetings at the end of the game have been decided by just 1 goal. And you mentioned the one that Utah got a late one against Dallas when the Stars had a bunch of guys out of the lineup late in the year. Wasn't really a relevant game to anybody in the standings. But Mammoth have played this team close for whatever reason, and this is one of the best teams in the league. The Central is loaded, as we know. It's Colorado and then everybody else, and Dallas and Minnesota are those 2 teams in that second crust of the Central Division. But AD, they've struggled recently. This Dallas team is pretty healthy. They were without Miro Heiskanen, their star defenseman, last game against Anaheim. He was out for personal reasons. We certainly hope everything's okay there. But only 2 wins for Dallas in their last 10 games. Now, they still have been picking up points because they've been losing a few in overtime and shootouts and things like that. But this is probably their roughest stretch of the year. That offense has dried up a little bit, AD.
And still in second place. You know, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. You're going to see another bananas 2-3 series in the Central Division in the first round. Last year, it was Colorado and Dallas going to 7 games. Mikko Rantanen against his former team. Stars were down by 2 in the third period, tied it and won it in overtime. So that's really what Dallas and Minnesota are playing for, to hold home ice advantage in that first round series. And I'm not sure anybody's really been able to discern why Dallas has 2 wins in their last 10 games. But Mike, you look at it, they're 2-4-4. They're collecting points. So in their last 10 games, they've still got 8 of a possible 20 points, 27, 11, and 9. That was amazing to me that they had that 6-game winless skid and their record was still what it is. You couldn't even tell. It looked exactly like it did before they went through that bump or two. But 6-game road trip here. We've seen how the Mammoth have played at the end of road trips, Mike. It's a tough game to play. That Calgary game, after a couple big wins in Anaheim and Vancouver, you feel it in your legs. You're trying to push through. It's the third game in 4 nights. That Edmonton game 4 of that trip that snapped the 7-game winning streak. The Ottawa game. It's just kind of had a feel, and they have been all over the map literally on this trip, Mike.
Yeah.
Carolina, DC, San Jose, LA, Anaheim, Salt Lake. Do you think they flew over the North Pole to go from Washington to San Jose? That's what kind of trip this is for them.
Yeah, I think they took the Panama Canal to get from DC to San Jose. And they did not stop in Dallas, by the way. They had a back-to-back, Carolina and Washington, which is tough enough as it is. And then they had a couple days. They had two free days between their last Eastern game and then the San Jose game. Not really enough time to stop over in Dallas, so they went straight from the East Coast to San Jose. Tonight is their 3rd game in 4 days as well. They had a back-to-back between LA and Anaheim. Day off on Wednesday, and then back at it at the Delta Center tonight. So you were saying it, like we felt this from Utah, where you have a bunch of games in a short amount of time, and that's what the Stars are dealing with as well. And Adrian, they caught some teams when they were hot, like they ran into Buffalo. Remember when the Sabres had their win streak going, and then I think they went to Dallas, I want to say, and we were all like, okay, this is where the Sabres run comes to an end. And I think even our own Sarah Merrifield, who used to work with the Dallas Stars, was like, oh yeah, like the Stars are gonna end the streak right here. Well, what do you know? Buffalo wins that game by a couple goals. They keep their streak going. The Chicago Blackhawks have been hot here in the month of January a little bit. And Dallas ran into them, right? They ran into Montreal, who's been ascending. So they've caught some teams at difficult times. They've had a tough road schedule as well. And you were alluding to it. We're both saying it, like, for them to be struggling, quote unquote, in this stretch, like their record is still fine. They're still second in the Central. They haven't really lost anything at this point. I will say their special teams have taken a downturn, Adrian. I think that's been a big part of their, them not being able to kind of get over the hump in some of these close games. Recently, at least the last few weeks, only 2 power play goals for Dallas over their last 9 games. And both of those goals came in the same game against Toronto. Their penalty kill has been concerning. They've allowed multiple power play goals 5 times in their last 10 games. So in half of their last 10 games, they've given up multiple power play goals. That could be just what the doctor ordered for Utah to try and get a struggling power play going a little bit here at home.
Yeah, the Mammoth, the penalty kill in their wins has been big. They got a power play goal against St. Louis. Didn't have a lot of time on the power play against Toronto, but they killed some big penalties. And Mike, we talk about it. We fully expect the power play to get going. It was 10th in the NHL last year, right? And you've got the same pieces there. So it's got to pick up at some point. And it has in spurts, right? I think when the power play's gone 2-3 games without a power play goal, it's been more magnified than when the power play's gotten 3 goals in a 4-game stretch. But yeah, would love to get it going. But I think the biggest thing, Mike, is what Utah did against Toronto. And that's come out, dictate the pace. They let Columbus come out, dictate the pace. That's the difference. That's the only game where they didn't get the first goal, didn't lead tape to tape. And Bear talked about the mindset. And really liked the mindset on Tuesday night. The Mammoth just came out and took it to Toronto, and they didn't stop. The third period of that contest, where they were up 4-1, Mike, it seemed like they got going as good as they were the whole game, and they were really solid in periods 1 and 2.
Yeah, and they knew that they had an opportunity to jump on the Maple Leafs with Toronto playing a back-to-back. So that was a point of emphasis. And I thought that McBain, Gunther, Carcone line was hot right off the jump, right? I mean, they had 4 goals. It's kind of obvious. But their intensity to start the game, you could just tell in their first few shifts that they were gonna get at least 1. I didn't know they were gonna get 4 that night. I think that's my biggest storyline for Utah coming into this game against Dallas, Adrian, were those new line combinations and the success that came from them, was that just all a flash in the pan? For me, I feel like this team responds well anytime the lines get jumbled up. It kind of serves as a wake up for the team, whether that's an adjustment to the lines in game, like what we saw earlier this season against San Jose when head coach Andre Tourigny puts Peterka with McBain and Krause, and they immediately score like 40 seconds in on their first shift, or whether it's a new adjustment putting Carcone with or putting Krause with Schmaltz and Keller, who have been dominant when they've been on the ice in 5 games now. I think they're outscoring the opposition 6-0 ever since they've been put together. So the team seems to respond well to adjustments. It kind of serves as a little kick in the backside. And I love to see that combination of intensity and speed from the McBain line. And I think that's kind of what head coach Andre Tourigny was getting at in his post game after the contest against Toronto. When you have guys playing with intensity that also possess the speed that Carcone has, that Gunther has, that McBain can keep up with as well, it's going to lead to a lot of chances, and it led to a great forecheck for Utah. It led to the Mammoth creating turnovers in the Toronto zone, and it led to 4 goals for that line. Adrian, I think of, and then I'll turn it over to you. I know I'm going here, but I think of last year, a line that played with a lot of speed and had a lot of success offensively, and it was Gunther with McBain and Logan Cooley. And they didn't have to dig in and defend a ton because they always had the puck. And when you play with that intensity and speed, that combination, you have the puck a lot more. And what do we say? The best way to defend is to have the puck in the offensive zone. That's what that line had last year. And now with Carcone in with McBain and Gunther, that's what we saw last night against the Maple Leafs.
Just watching that first goal from Dylan Gunther, for those of you on YouTube, and Mike, you look at how the Mammoths scored their goals on Tuesday night. They were playing fast, but they didn't always get the goal immediately off of the clean breakout into the zone,
right
off the rush. On the first Carcone goal, he entered it, tried to find McBain, didn't quite connect, but Utah just kept grinding down low, kept moving. Carcone's there wide open. Second goal, the clean breakout, Ian Cole gets it up ice, and McBain finds Gunther to make it 2-0. That third goal for the Mammoth, Mike, I absolutely love this because it started with Dylan Gunther playing defense in his own zone, ripped the puck away, just took it right there, got it to McBain, went straight up ice, went straight to the net, and made it 3-0. On the fourth goal, Mike, it again was Utah working in the offensive zone, but playing fast and urgent, and it was off a result of puck possession. Daniil Boot from his knees, keeping that play alive. Utah continued to work it around, and ultimately, Peterka is on the far side of the net as Boot goes net front, takes away the eyes from Dennis Hildeby. So you look at all 6 goals, Mike, it wasn't an instance, say, against St. Louis in October where you had 7 scoring chances and all the pucks went into the net. You could see the work by Utah and the speed and the intensity that they were playing with that led to the goals in those games with those newly assembled lines. And we talked about how we like the Schmaltz, Keller, Krause line too, and that fourth line of Tanev, Stenlund, and Liam O'Brien. O'Brien laid down 8 hits, 3 more hits for Tanev. Stenlund won 80% of his draws. They were rolling all 4 lines, and sometimes you add a new guy like a JJ Peterka. It takes a half a season, right? We said it to find the combos that you like, but you're exactly right. When Utah's shaking up those line combos too, they've got immediate results every single time.
I think of Michael Carcone and JJ Peterka very similarly when it comes to line construction, right? They're not the same player. JJ's higher end offensively, but I think of them similarly because the first 2 things you think about with those 2 guys are their speed and their shot. At least for me, those are the first 2 things I think about. And Bear talks about having different things on a line, like not having the same thing, not having the same attributes for all 3 forwards on a line. And to have a JJ and to have a Carcone on a line, or have 2 lines where you have that, I love it for Utah because those guys, they're never going to win a Selke trophy, but they can break a game open with their speed, and they add that element that puts the fear of God in the defending team. And when they're going like they were the other night, it opens up so much for their teammates too. And I want to ask you about Michael Carcone because you've seen him more than I have going back to Tucson. Do you think he's evolving as a passer? Because I knew him last year as a shooter, right? He had 21 goals a couple years ago and only 9 assists in that season. He's a shooter. He's a finisher. He's a goal scorer. He's not a playmaker. And I still don't think anyone is like primarily thinking of Michael Carcone as a playmaking winger, but it seems like he has been better at setting up his teammates this year.
First thing I think of Michael Carcone Island, right wing circle, the one-time blast where he scored from on Tuesday night. And then I think of just kind of the snarl and the way that he's willing to go in and hunt pucks and retrieve pucks and work hard and get in somebody's face. And then you got the raw emotion that he plays with, which is straight right here. It's all heart, right where the Mammoth logo is on my jacket. And then, Mike, I totally agree with you in terms of taking another step and evolving the game, because he's a guy that can make it on his own with his shot and with his snarl and with his heart, and I've seen that too, which is why he's on pace for a career season after he had a 21 goal year 2 seasons ago, with the balance that he's added there, as you said.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch, and it just seems like we're singing his praises after every game here, especially recently. I think between him and Lawson Krause, you've got 2 of your most consistent players there last year. Which, Adrian, think about saying that. Think about saying that Michael Carcone and Lawson Krause are 2 of your most consistent players. Now, I'm not talking obviously Keller and Schmaltz have more points and yada yada, but night in, night out, it feels like Krause and Carcone are bringing winning hockey to the table. You think back last year when Krause struggled, had his worst season in a while, Carcone was in and out of the lineup. Could you imagine saying that last year, Adrian?
Yeah, the fans here in Utah watching those 2, I don't think they saw that coming. I think we did, right? Knowing what Krause had done the previous 3 years. I said it late last year. I said Lawson Krause is going to come back and he's going to be in the neighborhood of 20 plus goals for the 4th time in 5 years, just how he's played.
I want some credit too, because there is a Mammoth Daily clip of me saying Lawson Krause is going to have a big bounce back year, which he has. But I just didn't think we'd be saying like they're 2 of your most impactful players every night.
Yeah, and it just starts with working. It just starts with going out there and grinding and going to town. And to your point on Carcone, 8 assists this year already through 45 games, after he had 8 assists when he had the 21 goal season 2 years ago. He had 12 assists last year. So definitely you see it in the numbers, but you love guys like that grind and are all heart and emotional leaders like like Kraus and Carconi, and it's part of the identity that had been building, and last year didn't see the results. Kraus was a healthy scratch for a game for the first time ever. Carconi wasn't in the lineup every night. Carconi didn't start this year in the lineup. First two games, not in, and he's played 45 straight games for the Mammoth. And we've seen some good guys who haven't been in the lineup every single night, Mike, but Carconi has been.
Yeah, credit to GM Bill Armstrong for building that depth. Mammoth also have been relatively healthy. We're without Logan Cooley right now, but knock on wood that this good run of health continues. No Kerfoot as well, but that depth has been employed and it's been necessary. AD, it's always fun to break things down when you score 6 goals and you beat an original 6 team. So I know we're going long here. We got to get to Catherine in a little bit, but wanted to give some shout outs because we've talked to a bunch of people last couple days. Dylan Tyler popped up again, both at the arena and at the museum. So Dylan Tyler, thanks for coming by. I've been seeing you guys everywhere. Scott and his grandson Crew came by, I believe on Sunday, I want to say. So shout out to them. Adrian, you know who I met at the season ticket holder event at the Natural History Museum? I met our friend Dark Knight Rises, who replies to us on YouTube. I met him and his wife Danielle. They were in from Idaho, taking in a couple games. They got to see that big win against the Maple Leafs, but I'm not going to unmask the true identity of Dark Knight Rises. I like to keep it at that. But guys, thanks for coming by. We had a couple drivers that came and said hi as well. They're driving around. So a good morning to Sean on his FedEx run and Austin driving around this morning as well. Hoping you guys are staying safe on the road. But thanks to everyone for coming by and saying hi. It's been a blast and boy, Mammoth are playing well right now, so it makes it all the better.
Love it. Yeah, never be a stranger. Grab us, say hi, come to section 6-7. We'll be back there tonight, 7:00 against the Dallas Stars. Mike, when we come back, one of our good friends from UtahMammoth.com, Karel Bogart, is going to join us. New episode of Mammoth Monthly dropping this week. So you got us, the day-to-day guys that are breaking it down as it happens. You got Tyson Nash and his cast of celebrities joining the Nash cast with you and Tyson, Mike, that drops every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. And you got Mammoth Monthly, our magazine with Karel Bogart, going in depth on the big stories of the month. Catherine joins me to preview this week's Mammoth Monthly and talk more Mammoth from her perspective and what she sees covering this team as we continue right here. Second period next, and our Thursday expert on a Mammoth Daily.
Expert analysis, expert opinions.
It's our Thursday expert edition here on Mammoth Daily, and we are so excited to be joined by Karel Bogart from UtahMammoth.com, host of Tuss Talk. You see her every game day. And, of course, Mammoth Monthly, one of our other 2 podcasts here with the Utah Mammoth. And Catherine, new episode coming out this week. What's coming up on Mammoth Monthly? Again, wherever folks get their podcasts and on the YouTube Mammoth YouTube page, SEG Plus and Mammoth Plus, just like Mammoth Daily.
Adrian, first off, so happy to make my Mammoth Daily debut with you, talking about Mammoth Monthly. Mammoth Monthly has been such a fun project to launch, and we're happy to be a part of the podcast network with you guys because, as we know, there's a lot of ways to get Mammoth coverage, and that's needed for this market. This second episode of Mammoth Monthly starts all about the Winter Classic. I know you're excited. We're both so excited about the 2027 Winter Classic, and we actually had the NHL in town for this event. And we were able to talk with Steve Mayer, who directs all the events. He's the main guy for the Winter Classic, and he also oversees content for the NHL. So we were able to talk with him about this event, not only what he anticipates out of Utah, but how this event has grown and what really goes into planning the Winter Classic. So it should be a very fun interview for fans to learn even more about really what goes on for this premier outdoor game. We also take a look back at December because, as you know, it was a very busy month off the ice. We had Pay It Forward Day. A couple of the guys got their Stanley Cup rings from their time with the Florida Panthers. So we were able to take some of our interviews with people on those topics. And then we just look forward to the Olympics. And our February edition will be a lot of Olympic coverage. So you're all prepped and ready to go for the 4 Mammoth players over in Milano Cortina 2026. But this episode is really exciting, and I cannot wait for fans to learn more about the Winter Classic from the perspective of the NHL, because it's something I didn't even really know much about until I was able to talk with Steve.
Yeah, it was a great announcement up at Rice Eccles Stadium. It's just such a beautiful setting. It's the perfect setting, and I really believe, I know we all do, it's going to set the new standard for the Winter Classic. And
Yes.
the venue, everybody's going to be right on top of each other, just like in the Delta Center, nestled in the mountains here in the West. And of course, Colorado Avalanche is going to be the opposition, right down to the opponent, Catherine. Every detail perfect in the launch.
It couldn't be better. And Nick Olchek also is on this month's pod. He recaps a bunch of the things going on with the Mammoth on the ice. And he also talks a lot about how he expects the Winter Classic to go. He's covered a couple of them already on the NHL Network radio side and a couple stadium series. So he gives his perspective on everything as well. And I know fans are going to appreciate his candor and his ability to take us into these events as well. So it should be something that everyone will enjoy listening to.
Well, Catherine, you were in New Jersey with the Devils before coming to Utah. So a wide range of NHL contacts and just watching the league for several years. What have you heard from folks who have hosted outdoor games, Winter Classics on, something we may not think of until we get to the event? We're like, oh, wow, this is cool.
I actually worked a stadium series at MetLife. It was a doubleheader. So I worked the game between the New Jersey Devils and the Philadelphia Flyers. And the next day was the New York Rangers versus the New York Islanders. So it was a full weekend at MetLife Stadium right in New Jersey. It was an incredible experience. I've had the privilege of working at a lot of incredible games, from World Juniors to Men's World Championship, Women's World Championship, college hockey, NHL, and that is in the top 3 of favorite events I've ever covered in my life and favorite games. It is truly a unique experience, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. Like, something that people don't necessarily know from the outside is that with the NHL, they come in, they build the ice. They have specialists who do this. They have specialists who focus on transportation. They have specialists who focus on the fan fests that are outside the stadiums. They have someone for everything. And these events are so produced. There's so much around it. The fan fest alone is more production than an NHL game. So when you add in a fan fest and the events that'll be going on in Salt Lake City around the Winter Classic, and just even a family skate on the ice and having practices at Rice Eccles Stadium, all of these things are planned, and it's quite an extensive process. So that's what I mean by how produced it is. There's so many moving parts and so many elements. It's not just show up to Delta Center for a game. This is a multi-day NHL event for the players, their families, coaches, staff, and then just the general public of Salt Lake. So everyone should get really excited, because there's going to be a lot of excitement in the city to begin with, and then all these fun activations and things that fans can do surrounding the actual game. The actual game is going to be incredible. You touched on it, how it feels like you're right on top of the field at Rice Eccles, and I think it's just with the mountains in the background and Salt Lake as host, it's going to be an absolutely incredible event. And for the Mammoth to host it in only their 3rd season is absolutely unheard of, especially when it comes to the Winter Classic. I think they're the 14th or 15th team to host the Winter Classic. So half the league has never even hosted this event. So that's a really big honor. But I will say the game is unlike anything else. You'll see it. The players will be dressed up in a team coordinated outfit going into the rink. I know for the game I covered, they did kind of like a Sopranos Rocky spinoff for the 2 teams. And then the guys are ready. They're on the ice. They're giving it everything they have. Their sellies are even more extravagant than they might be at Delta Center. So it's just such a fun experience. And it's going to be one of those games that people remember watching in person, on TV, just seeing the excitement around this community.
And as we've talked to the players over the last week, getting their excitement, it's at the same level of all of ours. And,
Yes.
as they've come to Utah in the last 2 years, the excitement of an inaugural season, the new Southtown training and practice facility, the logo, the brand announced over the summer, and now the outdoor game. How fun is it for these guys to continue to get these updates about the organization that they play for, and the latest one being Winter Classic, what we've all watched every year when the calendar turns to the new year.
It's incredible. I mean, so much credit goes to Ryan and Ashley Smith. They have been bought in since day one. And the NHL said that too. They said not only have Ryan and Ashley Smith been bought in, but the community's been bought in too. Give credit to Utah. A lot of the NHL staff that I talked with, they all kept complimenting this fan base and this market and how passionate everyone is. When they were at the game right after the announcement, they saw it firsthand. I mean, people love coming to games here. Whenever, I'm sure you get the same, Adrian, whenever other teams come in, they're always like, "Oh, we love the brand. We love the colors. We love the arena. Your fans are so loud. They're so passionate. They're so positive." So Utah has really shown up strong in these first, few years. And for them to get the Winter Classic is huge. It just is a compliment to how hard everyone has bought in and how hard everyone has worked to make hockey and NHL hockey very viable and very vibrant here. So I do love that. But the players are so excited. There's only 2 players on this current roster who have ever played in the Winter Classic. It's that rare of a thing to be a part of. And the coaches, they've done some outdoor games, but no one's done the Winter Classic. So everyone's so excited. Like you said, Adrian, everyone's tuning in at the start of the new year. And not just in the US and Canada. They're watching overseas. They're watching all throughout the world. And everyone's excited for this game. It has a different energy. I love all the outdoor games, and the Stadium Series has been an incredible series. But the Winter Classic is the premier outdoor game.
In the middle of the 7-game homestand right now, Catherine, and you're with the team traveling, and you've seen this group through the first half of the season. And, our message was, once we get to the second half, Bill said it all year, if we can be around that playoff line in the neighborhood, we're going to feel good about what we can go out and do in the second half. And the team is exactly right there. How have you seen this team evolve going through the travel and adjusting on the fly without Logan Cooley and Karel Vejmelka continuing to grow as an elite goaltender in the NHL, leading the league in wins at the start of the week? But there's been a lot of growth. And for me, Catherine, the one thing when Andre Cherney says an item of focus, whether it be game management or what have you, you see the team go out and do it, getting to the net, the interior. The message from Bear to us, you can tell that he said the same thing to the players.
Yeah, it's a really special group. And I think it's very important to note, first off, the insane travel schedule that they had. And this is my 7th season in the NHL. I'm so grateful for this. And I have never seen a schedule like this. And even just as broadcasters or writers or team reporters, we all feel it. And we're not even on the ice. So it's truly a grind right now. The fact that they came out still in the playoff race, still right there. Another point to remember, too, is the league, the parity in the league is the strongest we've ever seen. There is no separation between teams. If you look at the Western Conference, it is so tight in the standings right now. The Eastern Conference, I think the first team in a division and the last place team in the division are separated by 10 points, which I have never seen that this far into the season. So it's a battle, but something that has been important and has been talked about is at least pushing games to overtime, because that extra point you can get from an overtime loss like they did against the Columbus Blue Jackets those points very much add up. And if you look at the teams ahead of the Mammoth in the standings right now, a lot of them are nearing double digits in those extra points. So that's something that, even pushing these games to OT, that really will reward you. I've watched a New York Islanders team make the playoffs over other teams in the Metro Division because they had, I think it was 13 overtime lost points, which is insane to think about. So it's good that they're doing that. And this team is still working through it. This is a tight season. There's not a lot of time to make adjustments. You're playing practically every other night, but this team has done great during all of it. They continue to grow. And I think the most important thing that I've seen, and I'm sure you've heard this as well, Adrian, is that there's that feeling of never being satisfied. When they were on that win streak to start the year, everyone on the team was like, yeah, we're not satisfied. We want to be even better. So I think having that drive and that energy and wanting to continue to improve, that is the most critical thing that you need out of a team, because that's going to be the team that's fighting from game 1 to 82. And I think that's a really important thing that the leadership group, the coaches, the staff, and every player into the locker room has bought into. So that's a really positive thing. And this homestand has been really successful so far. I mean, they have started the new year with 5 wins in 6 games, and they have so many points now that they have captured in this start of 2026. So this is really setting themselves up on the right foot.
Wrapping it up, Catherine, 4 Olympians on this roster. As you've been with the team when these announcements have been made and these players found out that they were going to the Olympics, Clayton Keller with Team USA, Olli Mata with Finland, Karel Vejmelka with Czechia, and JJ Peterka with Germany. What is memorable for you, just kind of being embedded with the group when these players got the news?
It's one of those things that everyone dreams about, is playing in the Olympic Winter Games. And hockey players always haven't had the opportunity to play if you're in the NHL. There's been years that the NHL has not sent players. So everyone has viewed this as such a privilege that they're being named to these teams, that they have this opportunity to go represent themselves, their country, their NHL club, their community on the international stage. Also, it's in Europe, and there's a lot of, excitement around the fans that are going to pack the arena and be there cheering on, and just being in such a picturesque area of Milano Cortina. That's just a stunning area of Italy. So everyone's really excited for that. But these players, they've dreamed about winning Stanley Cups and Olympic medals and scoring those overtime goals. These are the things that when they're playing street hockey or pond hockey or even in their basement with mini sticks, these are the goals and the teams they're dreaming of playing for. So for these guys to make it is huge. And we actually sat down with all 4 of Olympians on the team. 2 of the interviews are going up on the website tomorrow and another 2 coming soon. So you'll hear more from them about that as well. And those interviews will also be in our next month for Mammoth Monthly. So you'll hear them there as well. But all these players just could not be more excited about this opportunity. It's going to be best on best hockey. 4 Nations was a nice teaser for what we're going to see out of this new generation of best on best hockey. And I know the NHL has plans to do a World Cup in the future, which will be an incredible event as well. But these are the games that the players dream about, and they are so excited to be there. And just another thing to note, too, is as excited as they are, their teammates are just as excited for them. Coach has talked and joked about how he's going to have to root for other teams besides Canada because none of his players are on the Canadian team. So he's going to have to root for USA and Czechia and Germany and Finland. So it's really funny that everyone's going to, root for their teammates as well. But it's just everyone's so proud of each other and so happy to see each other succeed.
Catherine Bogart, you can read her at utahmammoth.com, Tusk Talk on all the Mammoth socials, interviews on Team YouTube page, and Mammoth Monthly, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find Catherine. And Mammoth Monthly is so fun because, you've got kind of a magazine format to be able to tell stories and go in depth. And if folks don't hear it on the first day, it'll be there 2 or 3 days later. It's evergreen for the month and stories that you're telling. And we're excited for folks to check out your latest episode.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here on Mammoth Daily with you. And, I can't wait to even hear more from this week. And it's just great coverage that you guys have. So I'm so happy we're able to be one team here and bring out all the best coverage to the best NHL fans throughout the country.
Love it, Catherine. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you next month.
Thank you.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Thanks again to Catherine Bogart. She runs that Mammoth Monthly show beautifully, and it is far more produced than Mammoth Daily. So it's a great program that they have over there. Catherine does a great job with us. Joined us last year from New Jersey, acquired right at the trade deadline. So glad to have her in Salt Lake City. But AD, a big matchup tonight against the Dallas Stars. Utah has played some close games against Dallas. We're expecting to see Karel Vejmelka in net for Utah. He has won 4 in a row. He's won, I believe it's 6 of his last 7 now. If you're watching on YouTube, big stop against John Tavares. And AD, this is one of those stops by a goalie where he doesn't really have to move. He just throws his glove out there and we celebrate like he's Dominic Hasek flopping around, making a crazy diving save. But those stops are big because you have to hold your ground as a goaltender and come out to challenge Tavares. There's a lot more that goes into that than just standing up there with your glove outstretched.
Yeah, it was a really nice glove save by Vejmelka to keep the contest, Mike, 1-0 early in that second period. Yeah. It was a 1-0 game, remember, for 22 minutes and 4 seconds. You see the score, you're like, easy night at the office. But the stuff that goes on in the game, the penalty kills, the key saves from Karel Vejmelka. And Mike, for me, Karel Vejmelka in the first periods has just come in and allowed Utah to kind of settle into the game. He's allowed 3 first-period goals in the last 9 games, stopping 75 of 78 shots in that stretch with a 1.01 goals against average and a save percentage of .962. And those good first-period numbers go back to last year. He's just come out and allowed the team to get into the game, and you've seen on this homestand when they jump up 1-0 that they're in a good spot to move forward and manage things.
Almost a .920 save percentage since the start of December. That's top 10 in the NHL in that span. He leads the league in wins, as we've documented. So Utah's getting saves where in November Vejmelka was finding his way a little bit. There was a game or two where he would want one back, but in December and into January, he's been great. Great in that first period. I love how you brought that up because we noticed that last year, and that's continued into this year, allowing the Mammoth to have a chance to take a lead. But how about the third period as well, defensively for this group and with Vejmelka? What's the number? It's like 1 third period goal against in, I think, 6 games now, or no third period goals against in the last 6 games. I think it is. Besides, I guess Toronto scored 1, so it would be 1. But 1 third period goal against in 6 games.
Yeah, in the 2026 calendar year, Mike, the Mammoth have outscored their opposition 10-1 in the third periods.
Wow. Yeah, so since the calendar turned, Utah's been lights out in the third, which, what were we talking about even just a few weeks ago? How much this team struggled in holding on to leads and protecting leads. You like to bring up game management. That's certainly an aspect, but the Mammoth are getting saves. They're playing well defensively in front of Veggie also. And when you're not giving up goals in the first and you're not giving up goals in the third, you're giving yourself a pretty good chance to win. Just got to work on that second, I guess.
It's come along. We've seen the second period make strides where it's not the story every single night that something goes south in the second periods. And I think in this homestand in particular against Ottawa, kept the game 2-1, no scoring in the second period. St. Louis, they got within 1, but Utah answered back quickly each time, 2-2 in the second period. Against Columbus, you took the 2-1 lead, gave up 1 late, and then taking things over with the 3-goal second period on Tuesday night. So it's been those little details, Mike, because the analytics are great in terms of the Mammoth, offensively, defensively, everything they do. It's just the little details here and there. It's the only thing that's cost him games. Andre Cherney saying that Columbus game, first game in a month, he didn't like.
Yeah. That one, I mean, like, if I'm thinking recent memory, that one, New Jersey, Boston.
Yeah.
Are the three that stand out just recently where you're like, yeah, we didn't really give ourselves a good chance to win. And you still picked up a point in one of those, the Columbus game. So big game tonight against Dallas. It's going to be a great test against not just one of the best teams in the division, but one of the best teams in the league, in the Stars, who are one of the odds-on favorites to win the Stanley Cup. It's also a big game, Adrian, because my parents, Dan and Terry, are going to be in the building. They've been to multiple Mammoth games on the road. They live out in Indiana. They've been to games at Chicago. They last second went to a game in Columbus. My dad drove out to St. Louis this year to catch a game there. They have never been to a game at the Delta Center. And I bring this up because I want to know from you, a Utah native, what do I need to show them while they're here for a couple days? Now, before we get into this, I've talked about how my grandparents used to live in Ogden. So my parents, Dan and Terry, they've been to Ogden before. Like they've been to Utah, used to ski at Snow Basin. We're gonna try and ski Friday at Brighton. But what else do I need to show them around the city to give them a true taste of the Valley and of State 45?
Mike, I always like the drive up to Park City and the stop off at the Olympic Park right there at Kimball Junction. There's a great museum in there, a ski museum that goes back decades, almost a century. And then just into Park City, park the car, stroll up and down Main Street, take it all in. You got Big Cottonwood Canyon between Solitude and Brighton. You got Silver Lake, which is a great area. You can snowshoe, cross-country ski, check out the wilderness up there. You can always drive up I-80, get off at the Mountain Dell Reservoir exit, and come back down Immigration Canyon, which is a beautiful drive. So for me, it's all about the outdoors. And at this time of year, Mike, sometimes as we look outside, it's good to get up above the valley. And temperatures warm up a little bit, and the blue sky and sunshine is good.
Yeah, we'll try our best to get this inversion out of here before my parents land. But I want to know, and I'm curious to know everyone else's thoughts too, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners and our viewers on YouTube have had people come visit here in Utah. This is a destination, right? People come to ski. They come for the nature. They come to see the beautiful city. They come for a Mammoth game. What is the one restaurant that you take someone to when they arrive to see you from out of town? AD, like you've had people visit you all the time. You have other broadcasters come in. Like when you have to take someone out to dinner, where are you taking them?
I take people typically that come in, say it's a Thursday night, it's a weekend, Friday, Saturday. For me, I go to the Pie on campus.
Yes.
Good call. Up there in the basement. For me, doesn't get any better than a Thursday night dinner at the Pie. The pizza's phenomenal. The atmosphere. You're downstairs. You smell the pizza. You smell the grease. It's good food. I would say the Pie is probably the spot that
is that the one we went to?
Yep. I think that's where I've taken the most out of towners for dinner when they come into Salt Lake. That's
nice. It's casual. What happened to your food reviews on Instagram? You when you started your Instagram account, it was like a new food picture every night. You'd be like microwaving some chicken nuggets and boom, it's on your Instagram. Like, oh, what's Adrian got for dinner tonight?
Season started, Mike. And for me, when the season starts, it's Sicilia pizza on a game day. It's Santorini's in the Delta Center on a game night. And it's a lot of protein shakes at home. And it's pretty flat. It's pretty stable. It's pretty normal during the regular season. I think Bear would like my predictability for nutrition during the regular season.
Nutrition's a strong word for all that you just mentioned. Oh, yes. Santorini's is fine. Santorini's is pretty healthy, right? That's what I tell myself. That's my healthy option at the, like I see J-Dogs on the app and I'm like, That sounds good. Can keep it a little healthier though with this Greek bowl at Santorini's. But I was thinking, I'm thinking the pie. That's a good idea, Adrian, to bring my parents to. Matteo is a nice Italian spot that a lot of the broadcast people like to go to. A lot of the hockey folks like to hit up. A little on the fancier side. I honestly, like, and I've been ridiculed for this. I have a hard time with fancy Italian. Like, I can whip up a meat sauce with some ragu and some ground sausage in my apartment, and I have a hard time separating that from the $40 plate of bolognese at a nice Italian restaurant. I like nice Italian restaurants. I don't have the subtleties in my palate to differentiate between like a $15 plate of pasta and a $40 plate of pasta.
I'll tell you the same thing, Mike. And I love, dining out, a good restaurant, love a good experience. The amount of times that I've been to a fancy steakhouse that's going, 3 digits on the dollar bills, and I'm thinking, I've had better meals at Texas Roadhouse before. You know what I'm saying?
I love Texas Roadhouse. Like I have the steaks at Texas Roadhouse. Like I'm very content with. I go into Texas Roadhouse. I start out with a 22-ounce Miller Lite. I get a side salad, and I get the chicken critter combo, which is chicken nuggets or chicken tenders, chicken strips, and steak, like a little 6-ounce fillet or something like that, with some fries, maybe some green beans. And I am happier than a pig in mud. Like that does it for me. I will say, AD, like a nice steak. There have been a few steaks that I would pay for. I remember
absolutely. There's great steakhouses and there's great Italian places, but there's restaurants, Mike, that are fancy that have the $3 signs, the $4 signs, the $5 signs, and you're
talking on Google, on like Apple Maps when you click.
You go in and you're like, the service and the food is better at Texas Roadhouse and Olive Garden.
And at Texas Roadhouse, you got, there's games on the TV. It's a good atmosphere in there. It's always packed. Like, I never had a bad time at Texas. Me and Nick Olchek go there after golf all the time. And
I'm not saying everywhere. Like, I've got my 5-star restaurants in multiple cities, including Salt Lake. But there's sometimes you go into a fancy restaurant and it's a little stuffy. The service isn't as friendly and the food isn't as good as at your best brand you got in the neighborhood.
And that's the worst thing for me. And that's the reason I don't often go to the nice places, because I'm so scared of getting burned. Like I can taste the value when I bite into something. Like, oh, this was a $20 steak, but boy, it's good. Whereas when I bite into a $60 steak and it's not everything I hoped for, I built it up in my mind and it doesn't live up to that, my night's ruined. So that's why I shoot a little bit lower and just hope that the $2 chuck, the cheaper cut wows me.
Yeah, you can never go wrong from a good brand, Mike.
It's about expectations. Life's about expectations, right, Adrian? Like that's why lower the bar
and quantities. Sometimes you'll go to a fancy place and the quantities are small. Yeah, you don't want to leave hungry.
Yeah. Everyone's got to find their own lane. We're still finding ours, but this was great, AD. Parents in town, can't wait to show them around. Can't wait to show them the pie. If anybody has any other great suggestions of great spots that you love in the Salt Lake area or just outside, please let us know in the YouTube comments. But big one tonight against the Dallas Stars, as we keep saying. These are all big during this homestand. It's been a successful homestand so far, but there's a lot of work still to be done as the Mammoth try and hold on to one of these wild card spots. So any final thoughts, AD, before we cut everybody loose?
Same recipe's there, Mike. Get one in the first, take it from there, and the tape to tape model's working. 2 of the 3 wins so far, they've led for over 56 minutes.
Yeah, let's just get ahead, stay ahead, finish ahead. It's simple as that. We'll see everybody tonight at the top of Section 7 at the Delta Center. Make sure you drive safe to the arena and be loud because it's going to be a fun tilt against a team. Utah has always played close. So we'll see everybody tonight. We'll see everybody on the NHL app and on the KSL Sports Zone, 97.5 FM and 1280 AM. You can also listen on the KSL app as well. But thanks again for listening, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for our Friday free-for-all.